There, Dan here from GeekCast Radio doing another comic book review. This time I'm continuing my look at the Venom series with Web of Venom, #1, or however you're supposed to say it. They're going to be doing a series of these one-shots with the Web of Venom tagline. There's going to be a Carnage one coming out as well. This one specifically is designed to kind of fill in some of the pieces of that Venom story, that with a symbiote story that's been spilling out in the pages of the regular Venom story. This is also written by Donny Cates, but does not have Brian Stegman as the artist. It has Julian Ramirez, and I think the art overall is quite strong. And spoiler up front that Nick Fury is in this, so I will try to stick away from key spoilers as I always do with this, but some cameos that I'm going to have to talk about in order to talk about the book. So if you want to know absolutely nothing, just know that, this does, if you're a fan of the Venom comic, I think you're going to enjoy this. Is it necessary? I at this point don't fully know, but I don't necessarily feel like it's a must read to enjoy the general story. That could change. It does fill in some key pieces here and there, but I don't think they certainly are going to reveal anything that you couldn't really kind of infer yourself based upon the story that we were told. But this, as the title says, takes place during Vietnam, and this is when, for those that don't know, in the current Venom series, they revealed that there was actually a Venom super soldier program that took place, run by S.H.I.E.L.D. during the Vietnam War. Unfortunately, things went bad, and that's kind of what we're seeing here, is those things do go bad. And as you see right away, as often is the case with Donny Cates writing, the action is there, it's on the page, it's visually spectacular from moment to moment. And it's no difference here. I do like the coloring here, as it's very saturated, but it makes sense compared with this kind of classic Vietnam story. I do wish they took more advantage of the Vietnam the location and time place. I feel like overall this doesn't feel like it takes place during Vietnam all that much. Like it just seems like it could be really any war. I do love some of the fact that we are getting Nick Fury, classic Nick Fury, not the whatever he is now, the unknown or whatever, which is crazy. But again, a big spoiler here. But we learned that a lot of this came, and this was kind of revealed in Venom already. They discovered this dragon, Venom Dragon, which is really kind of where the symbiote program was born. And I have a strong feeling, it's not really been revealed or indicated, but that this dragon or this Venom and Avengers may come together in some way, because they're both dealing with cosmic level beings. Both have touched on the Celestials. We've seen that the Venom symbiote, or the Venom God, has taken out Celestials in the past, and if you're reading Avengers, it's been dealing a lot with the Celestials and the sickness that has overcome some of them, which has led to that story as well. And it seems like it could be hinting at this. I don't know. Nothing's been stated, but I feel like we're seeing hints that those stories might come together. Again, this is dealing, seeing another thing in the Arctic. That's where the Celestial was found as well. So I don't know. I don't know if that's just me putting something there that's not actually there, but it does seem like it's possible. And what we get to is just a look at just the experiment that they went through, what these soldiers did. And I kind of wish it dove a little bit deeper over what the overall intention was. It's like, oh, we found this thing, we did this experiment, we found that symbiote war thing we could do, and then we got soldiers and we attacked. Like, we don't get to learn much about any of these soldiers outside the fact that they're soldiers. Even Rex Strickland, who is the new character that was debuted in in Venom, does show up, but I was hoping we get more about him, and we don't all that much. Like, I don't feel like I know more about him as a person now than I did reading Venom. There was a big reveal at the end of the last issue of Venom I'm not going into, but I can definitely see why that reveal was done, because it doesn't necessarily give that away in this issue, but you can certainly see where it was hinting at. And as this shows, what we have is really just Nick Fury partnering along with Wolverine, or Logan at this time, going to take out these symbiotes because they've gone rogue. They're killing anything and anyone, including American soldiers. So Nick Fury enlists Logan to go out and take them down. And it does make me realize how much I do miss Wolverine as a character, because a regular Wolverine, because we haven't seen him in such a long time that you forget that, yeah, like there was a reason that character was so popular. And I liked how Donny Cates writes Wolverine. He writes a really great Wolverine, a really great Nick Fury. Nick Fury, how slimy and backstabbing and Nick Fury can be, how he'll do a lot of things that are, his morals are not necessarily that of Captain America, for sure. But like I said, the action here is big, it's over the top, it's fun, it's exciting. But I don't necessarily, as a pure entertainment piece, I think it's a successful. If you're looking to get this, to get a lot of key answers to things, outside of some of the things I talked about, there's not that much. Like, I was hoping to get some more characterization, because I've talked about Venom. I've been loving Venom, but I feel like the one thing that's been somewhat missing within that title, outside of learning all this cool history about the symbiotes, rewriting the symbiote history and what it means, the actual characterization, I just wanted a little bit more. We got a little bit more of that with Eddie Brock, and with this, I hope we learn more about Rex Strickland and who he is. I know it's only a one-shot, but we don't get that much. He kind of shows up, he does his thing, we see that he's certainly, a capable soldier, but outside of that, it's not that much. To me, it's like, it feels like it starts at the climax of the story by the end of it. And it's really, that action is fun, it's exciting. It's like Predator if Predator was a Venom symbiote taking out superheroes. So, I mean, what's not to like, but I want a little bit more meat to that bone. That's not just about kind of the history of the Venom symbiotes. And some people, might dig that much more than I will. But like I said, I do like some of the characterization pieces. I would, if Donny Cates were ever to write a Venom or a Wolverine story, I think that, that would be great, knowing he's finally coming back. And there's some little knocks on Nick Fury that a big reveal of what his intentions were by the end. Because with Nick Fury, he's one of those characters that he says one thing, and that's obviously never actually what he's intending to do. But ultimately, I think it comes down to this. Should you pick this up? Well, the key answer to that is, have you been reading Venom, and have you been enjoying it? If the answer to that is yes, that type of storytelling is on display here. If you want to read this because you want huge answers to a lot of key questions, I don't necessarily know if that does that, but it does at least hint at and provide context for some of the things that have been brought up in the current Venom series. And perhaps could be a backdoor pilot in a way where they're seeing the success of this, if people are actually interested in this, and perhaps in doing more. I always enjoy Marvel characters in the Vietnam setting. Because Marvel has a lot of history with that. The Punisher, Frank Castle. There's been recently Garth Ennis this year had that great miniseries, The Punisher, The Platoon, which was fantastic. Did not get nearly the notoriety it should have, which didn't feel like a Punisher book at all. It was basically a Vietnam story that had Frank Castle in it before he became the Punisher, which I would recommend picking that up. I don't know if the trade's out, but the single issues have been out for some time. But regarding this, like I said, I liked it, but I just wanted a little bit more. And it didn't necessarily get me what I'm looking for, but that may be different for what your desires are reading this book. But that's pretty much it. I know it's pretty straightforward when it came to my overall opinion on it, but there's another Venom book that came out this week, the first host that I'll talk about, which I think you can definitely tell. I just kind of worry that maybe they're just running this a little bit too thin, too soon. As someone who's not the biggest Venom fan, there's a lot of Venom content out there. I know there's a lot of people who love Venom and know the movie's coming out, so that might just be a product of that. But I don't know if this necessarily needed to be its own book, or just could have been done in the pages of the Venom comic. Who knows? But ultimately, when it comes down to it, I was happy that I read it. So there's that. All right. Well, that's the end for this. Let me know if you've read this, your enjoyment of it, what you thought of it. Leave comment sections down below. Thank you anyone who shares and talks about this or watches my ramblings. I do appreciate that. And ultimately, just remember, comics are for everyone. The key is finding the right one. Until next time, thanks for watching.